All right. I think we're good to go ahead and start here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. And welcome on in. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday so far, and a great week so far. We're halfway through. Made it halfway. Sorry, got a little bit. My sinuses are giving me a little bit of trouble today, so hopefully there won't be too much clearing throat or sniffling. I'll try to mute myself as much as possible for that. But, yeah, hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. I've had a back to normal week at work, thankfully. Last week I did a lot of stuff that was like not normally. I'll just, without getting too much into it, I did a lot of stuff that wasn't like normally my job. And it was very tedious and painstaking, but I got it done, and now I'm back to like normally what I do, which I'm very glad. But yeah, I'm very, very glad to be back to normal work. So one thing I do want to say right off the bat here, and I'll repeat it kind of a couple times throughout stream today, is that um, the next Sunday there is going to be no, or this Sunday there is going to be no stream. I'm unfortunately busy this weekend, and so I will not be able to stream this Sunday. But so that means the next stream for us is actually going to be a week from now, a week from today. Next Wednesday is going to be the next stream for me, just because I am going to be busy this weekend. But, but I think it'll be all right. I'm gonna miss it, unfortunately, but because I'm getting to that point where like if I do miss a stream now, I genuinely like miss it, and I feel bad. But yeah, so let's see what else. Oh, something else, and actually, hold on, I need to make a thing for it in the chat, which I'll do in a second here. I did publish another YouTube short that I'll share in the chat here really quick. I posted it yesterday? No, not yesterday. It was Monday night. Monday night is when I posted it, like late Monday night, because I originally said that I was gonna have it ready by like this weekend, but because my headphones broke this weekend and I had to get new ones, I wasn't able to work on it when I wanted to. So it was basically like it came out like a day late. But it's a new YouTube short talking about this product in particular, somebody that we've already researched, and it's particularly for Marion Metcalf and her relationship with her husband, who was a gold medal Olympian. So let me go ahead, put this in the chat real quick. All right. So let me go ahead, I'll put that in the chat, and then I'll pin this so that way it'll stay there at the top. All right. So there we go. There's that. But yeah, that stream, that short's been doing very well. So thank you so much for the support on that. In fact, actually, I just checked, when I was getting the link and everything before stream and everything, when I was getting ready. And as of today, officially, my YouTube subscribers have outpaced my Twitch followers. For a while, it looked like close, and then like something would happen, and then like one would get ahead of the other. But as of today, I have 142 YouTube subscribers, and as we can see here, I have 141 Twitch followers. Which, I mean, I really don't care about the numbers. Like, I genuinely don't care. I just do this for fun. But But I just think it's kind of funny that it's after about a year. Because I also something else I also checked too, because I know it's coming up. Mid-April is when I uploaded my first YouTube short. So I'm actually very happy with the fact that I got over 100 subscribers in less than a year, which is crazy. Might even get 150 before we get to 1 year, which would also be insane. So I just want to thank you guys again so much for all your support with the YouTube shorts and everything. I really like making them. I think they're a great way to kind of share what I find when you're not able, especially because not everybody wants to sit through a 3-hour stream to like learn everything about a person. So I think they're a great way to condense my findings and like share them with everything. And I don't want to make any promises yet because we're still not even halfway through this project, but I am thinking about, though, for after we finish finding everybody in this photo, I am thinking about maybe doing a look at or making a big video, doing more research like off stream, and doing a big video, like a long form video of everything that we've been able to find in this photo, which is going to take possibly a long time because we're only 9 people in. We're 9 people in, and there's already so much to talk about. There is so much to talk about. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think we should maybe just go ahead and maybe jump into it, because I really don't know where today is going to go. And you'll see why in just a second. Actually, wait, before we go to my to the other page, let me just go ahead and shrink myself down here and show you, if you're new here, what we're going to be doing today. So this is our current project. This is a photo from an antique store that I bought. That is a picture of a birthday party from 1888. It's a birthday party from 1888. And what we were trying to do is find everybody in this photo. I've researched all of them. And how I've been able to do that is because on the back of this photograph, whoever made this photograph put a list with full names of every single person in the photo. Every single person in the photo is right here. And they have corresponding numbers, so that way you know who is who. And so far, we've researched the first 9 people in this photograph, and today we're going to be researching number 10. We're in double digits now. Made it to 10. Which you can see right there is a girl named Mary Baldwin. So number 10, you can see her face is kind of obstructed by number 21. But you can see her right there, kind of like peeking out over the top. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on over to our classroom here, and we'll get ready to go. All right, so this is what we are researching today. We are going to be researching Mary Baldwin. And what I say that this is going to be entirely new is because some of the people on here we've had, like, have been siblings, like Helen Lewis, Amy Brown, Marion Metcalf, Harry Lewis, Harry Fosselman, Flora Fosselman, they're all siblings, and so I already kind of knew a little bit about some of them when I was doing their research. I already had some basic idea. Like I knew who their parents were and stuff like that because they have the same parents as their siblings. Mary Baldwin is going to be completely new. I have no idea what her background is going to be. I think I remember seeing her name in like one or two newspaper articles that we've researched already, but I don't remember which ones or what was the context. Or that could have been just that there were other Baldwin family members, because unfortunately Baldwin is a pretty common last name. So if we can't find a Mary Baldwin specifically living in this town at this time, it's going to be very hard to prove there's one living somewhere else where they could be, possibly. Especially also because there's no other Baldwins on this list, so we don't know if she had any siblings or not. Okay, so I say let's go ahead then. We're going to go ahead and start with Ancestry here. Alright, so Mary Baldwin. Oh wait, no. Why am I doing that? It's Mary and then Baldwin. Okay, and then Wyoming County, Pennsylvania. All right, let's see. Let's hope that there's something. Okay. Okay, here we go, right off the bat. Oh wait, no, that's a different Mary Baldwin. That's birth 1840. And this one isn't right because that's birth 1888. But it looks like the first thing that comes up here is this find a grave. Specifically, okay, so this looks like I think it is her. So I normally don't like to start with find a grave records, but I think that might be our only option, especially because this is what I found before. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go to this one, this 1900 census. We don't have a lot here. But I'm pretty sure this is her. So let's go ahead and look at this. Okay. So yes, so we do have Mary, Elizabeth, and George. Tioga Street. Okay, so they're living on that same street. A lot of them have lived on Tioga Street. Okay, let's see. So we see here February 1881, and that matches the grave that we found. So I'm pretty sure this is her. So that means in the photo, if she was born in 1881, that means in this photo she's 7. Yeah, she's 7 years old. She's 7 years old. Let's see. Her mother is 52. Her father is 45. Okay. And this right here is saying mother of how many children, how many living. So this here, oh shoot, did I accidentally click off it? There we go. Okay. So this is saying that Elizabeth, her mother, had 2 kids and 2 are living. So Mary does have a sibling. Mary does have a sibling, we just don't know who they are. They're not living with her anymore. So that makes me think it's possibly an older sibling then. Who's living with them. or who's living somewhere else. Either they got married or they're just living on their own. Born in Pennsylvania. Oh. Editor. Interesting. I wonder an editor for what? What was his name again? George Baldwin. Huh. Okay. The only thing I can think of that he could be an editor for, maybe, is like the newspaper. That's honestly the only thing I can think of. Okay, well, let's look at the 1910 census. So let's see, what do we have here? So she's still living with her parents. She's 29. George, Elizabeth. What does that say? Courthouse Square. They're living on Courthouse Square. I don't know if I recognize that place based on what I've seen so far. Okay, yeah. 2 children, 2 still... Yeah, so we don't know who her sibling is yet. Wait, what does that say? Justice of the Peace. The auto transcription thing says janitor. Instead of janitor, it's Justice of the Peace. So he's a justice. He's a judge. George Baldwin, Justice of the Peace. Who else did we... There was somebody else that we researched that was also Justice of the Peace, I think. Was it Ruth Terry's father? It might... I think it was... I don't think it was Bradley... It wasn't Bradley Lewis. I don't think Bradley Lewis was Justice of the Peace. I think it was Charles Terry that was Justice of the Peace, or something like that. Again, I think this is... And that explains... You know what? That explains why they live on Courthouse Square. That explains why they live on Courthouse Square. I'm also realizing that a lot of the people in these photos are like kind of more of the upper echelons of this community. Because we've had multiple lawyers, multiple like city officials, wealthy landowners, yeah, pastors. So I really think that this photo represents a group of people that are definitely more on like the wealthy, even for like a small community like this, are on the more wealthy side of things. Or maybe not even wealthy, just at least more like in power. Okay, and then 1920 is the last one we have here. Where she's 39, which makes sense. And she's living with her father. Her mother passed away because it says widowed. So her mother passed away. Putnam Street, 61 Putnam Street. Is her father still working, or is he retired? hardware salesman? Hardware salesman. Bro went from being justice of the peace to a hardware salesman? And before that, he was an editor. This guy was all over the place. Wow, okay. And there's really nothing else here. It's just her death certificate and find a grave. Okay, before we click on those, I want to see if we can find out specifically where she lived. Oh. Okay, let's go to... Let me pull up Google Maps real quick. Okay. Here we go. So Putnam is like... yeah, it's this street. Okay, I do recognize this street. I knew the name sounded familiar. Okay. So that's this one. Putnam. 61. All right. Hey, Pirate. Good to see you. Welcome on in. Hope you're having a good evening tonight. You caught it. We're kind of in the, I guess, early stages, but there's honestly not much here. We're researching a girl named Mary Baldwin, and we don't have much really. All we have is 3 census records, a death certificate, and a find a grave. And she lived to be at least like in her early 40s. And her dad, we know, was like all over the place in terms of jobs. He was an editor in 1900. Then he was Justice of the Peace in 1910. And then in 1920, he's a hardware salesman. Oh, and also just so you know, Pirate, I said this at the beginning of the stream, and I don't know if you were there, but there isn't going to be a stream this Sunday. I'm going to be busy, and so next stream honestly actually won't be until a week from today. That's I just want to let you know that, so that way you're so that way you know you don't like stay up on a Sunday night and be like, why isn't he going live? Hey Sherman, welcome on in. Got a date? No. I wish. No, I just got I got some stuff I have to do this weekend. Just some stuff that I have to do in the evening, specifically on Sunday night, so I can't make it. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, Sherman. I'm a guy doing genealogy research on weeknights for fun. Do you really think dates are gonna be an option for me? Do I really look like somebody who's able to get a date right now? All right. 100%. Well, thank you. I appreciate your. I appreciate that, but not at the moment. That's not the case for this weekend, I'll say. All right. All right. So what I want to do is find this house. So 61 Putnam Street. Let's see if this house still exists. It looks like it does. Oh, but there's no street view. Okay, well, the house does still exist, but it's... There's no street view for it. It's down... It's down there. It's by the church. It's one of those houses down there. I can't tell which one, but it's one of them. Okay, but where... Does it say where on Courthouse? For this one? No, it doesn't. It just says Courthouse Square. Where's the courthouse? Because I keep forgetting that Tuckanuck is technically the county seat for Wyoming County. Where is the courthouse? Church? Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. Courthouse Square. Are any of these on Street View? Ooh, they are. Let's see what the courthouse looks like. Okay. So it could be any of these houses around the square. Because that's the courthouse. And that looks like a courthouse that was definitely around in the early 1900s. So yeah, so it could be any of these houses. Could be that house. Could be any of these houses. Because the courthouse is... Wow, the courthouse is big. Or they lived in the courthouse? That's a big... Whoa, look at this side of it. Whoa, look at that tower. Ooh, that looks cool. I like this side more. Look at that. I actually really like that. But yeah, it's making me think that they probably were more... They were more likely on this side, because this is the square. We just don't know where on this side they were. What we could do in a little bit is, like, if we have extra time, which I think we will, because I don't know if there's... It looks like there's not that much on Mary. What we can do is come back and look at some of the Sanborn maps. We can look at some of the Sanborn maps to see if we can see if there was other buildings around this courthouse back in the day. All right, but I think really okay. Actually, hold on. Let me just look and see if there's other things here. So no, Mary Ball. We know she never marries. We know her birth year now is 1881. So let's do another search. Okay, here we go. This is her. Yeah, that's all that they have here. They have even less, but they do have some stuff. Oh, okay, we can find out. Okay, Arthur Frank Baldwin. So that is her brother. I appreciate I appreciate the wingmanning, Sherman, but no, almost everybody at work I know is either already in a relationship or uh yeah, they're either in a relationship or they're just I'll just say just not my type personally. And I'm not their type. For some of them I know I'm not their type. And also I don't know, I feel like that makes things I try to keep things at work professional. So this right here is something that I noticed. This says that Elizabeth died in 1922. But that's not possible because in the 1920 census, she's already dead because it says here that George is a widow. So I don't know what the deal with that is. That doesn't make any sense. Unless like, whoever made this just messed up. Okay. Is there anything else? Yeah, there's the death certificate. These are all other census records. Other death certificates. To at least narrow down the state. All right. I think then the next thing. I think the next thing is to look at this death certificate. Which again, I normally don't like doing this so soon, but there's really nothing else to go off of. So I guess we'll learn what happened to her. She died when she was only 41. Yeah. What's dinner tonight? Oh, I it was I always eat before stream because I do these streams like, you know, kind of late into the evening and everything, and I always come home like from work like hungry, so I always try to eat beforehand. It was a very fancy, a truly elegant fancy meal of Taco Bell. A great Taco Bell fancy high class meal because I personally, I mean like well, one, because like before stream I want to eat something quick and easy, and so I normally just like get something on the way home on Wednesdays. But also it's not that I can't do it, I just don't like it. I can cook if I want to, I just don't enjoy it, and I'm not a foodie. Like for me, cooking for me is a chore. And for me, I would describe my relationship with food as like, oh, I have to do this, otherwise I'll die. Like, I'm not a foodie. When I was really young, when I was really young, I was a really picky eater. I was really, really picky all the way up until like kind of high school. Nowadays, I will at least try something, but I'm not like overly adventurous with food. Like if I find something, if I go to a new restaurant and I find something that I like, I will likely just get that same thing every time I go to that restaurant again. And I've been trying to try other things, but I'm not, you know, I'm more of a, like, when it comes to food, I want something quick and easy so that way I can go do other things. That's honestly how I look at it. But unfortunately, when you do that, you normally get more unhealthy stuff. And I try to keep, you know, like at least a little bit healthy and everything. I do keep mind of that, and everything. Hey, Neff, good to see you. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the lurk. Enjoy your lurk. But yeah, so that's kind of like my relationship with food, really. I'm not I'm not a foodie. Like when people travel, because I've traveled abroad and everything. Like when they travel abroad, they're always like there are some people who they'll go on like food tours or like do a cooking experience. Uh, like they do that kind of stuff. Um, like but for me, like I mean, if a place is famous for something, I'll at least like try it. But I won't go like crazy when it comes to like food experiences and stuff like that. You're a food homebody, so you just eat the same. I mean, honestly, no. It honestly for lunch at work, I eat almost the same thing every single day. Like it doesn't bother me. Like eating the same thing like a bunch like doesn't bother me. I don't like it's I make something at lunch. My lunch for work is quick and easy and it's not that expensive. So that's why I do it. Yeah, I'm very like honestly, if they like invented like a pill in the future where it's like, oh, you can take this pill and you'll get all your like nutrition and you won't feel hungry, I'll do that in an instant. Like just so I could like save time and money. Although maybe not money because I feel like a pill like that would probably be expensive. But yeah, so that's kind of my food relationship. Uh and I know I probably sound crazy. I know, yeah, yeah. You say that pirate, yeah. Wife does the same. Same, and it drives me mad. Yeah, no, hey, I'm with your wife on this one. Like like that's how I am too. Like and I know to some people it sounds. I get that to some people it's insane and crazy and sounds insane, but also I'm not big on like fancy foods or like fancy restaurants. Like I'm the type of person I'm happier at a like greasy spoon diner than like a fancy tablecloth restaurant. Like that's kind of how it's like I'm way happier at like the down to earth like diner than like the fancy tablecloth restaurant that is super expensive and the portions are so small. I mean, yeah, it tastes good, but the portions are like that's my thing. Like that's a pet peeve of mine with like restaurants, especially fancy restaurants, is that if I go to your restaurant and I'm still hungry when I leave because your portions were so small, like you've failed. Like I don't care how good the food is, if I don't feel full by the time I leave or like like satisfied like that, I feel like you failed as a restaurant. I don't care how expensive or how or well no, actually I do care if you're expensive because that means I spent so much money and I didn't even get full. But because like, yes, it had a beautiful presentation and it looked really cool and I'm sure it tastes great, but I'm still hungry. God, but yeah. Yeah, greasy spoon place. Yeah, I am way more of a fan of that. Like diners and stuff like that. Yeah. Hey, Wonju, good to see ya. Hope you're having a good evening today. Gonna listen while I play a game. Ooh, fun. Ooh, what game are you playing? I'm curious. If you don't mind sharing, that's cool. Hope you do good with your game. You score lots and win. Oh yeah, you know what? I don't think I've ever had a patty melt. I Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a patty melt before. I mean, it doesn't. It sounds great. Like it's just like a regular. It's like a burger, but within like regular bread. um, Trying to think what. Because like normally because like that was the thing. Like there aren't any really good like diners near me. Like classic, like 24 hour like like classic diners near me. That was one of the things that I really liked about when I visited New Jersey, because in New Jersey diners are everywhere. and it's awesome. I had a friend in college who was from New Jersey, and I visited him, and we would go to like diners and stuff like that, and I loved it. It was awesome. Like I love the diner atmosphere and everything. Um, but yeah, sautéed onions on rye bread. Ooh, yeah, that sounds good too. Yeah, sautéed onions are good. I'm not a fan of raw onions on things, and I can't stand tomatoes. Like raw tomatoes are like in any shape or form. Like tomato stuff in general, like I am not a fan of at all. Even like ketchup, like I don't like. Uh no diners, drive-ins, or dives. Guy Fieri would be disappointed. Oh, so disappointment. So disappointed. I mean, like that, yeah, that's actually the kind of stuff those are the types of restaurants that I love, like the types of places that would be on there. Um, but it also could just be the fact that like I don't go out to eat. Um, I just don't go out to eat that much because, newsflash, when you work at a museum, you don't make a ton of money. uh, but uh, but I do every once in a while. I did find a really good like soul food place near me. That's really good. Really good soul food place. Are you secretly my wife with a voice changer? Hey, I mean, have you ever seen me and your wife in the same room together? Think about that, pirate. uh, Boxes lost fragments. You have a box-like mechanical puzzle, and you need to find out all the mechanics of how to open parts, to solve stuff, to open it more. You can't lose, but get stuck. Ooh, I love a good puzzle game. That sounds fun, Wonju. Enjoy that. Good luck with opening up your boxes. Uh, but yeah. Um, wow, we got off on a tangent there. That's like one of the longest tangents I think we've gone on. I feel like food does that with people though, because people always have like it's been a while since we've had a tangent like that. Don't ask me if I saw them. I promise not to tell. All right. Okay. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Um. hmm. Okay. All right. So after our little food rant there, our food tangent, which honestly we might need for this one because it doesn't seem like there's a lot. Okay. Let's take a look at this death certificate and see what happened to poor Mary. All right. So yeah, died in Wyoming County. Mary Helen Baldwin. So June or January? Is that January or June? Is that like an abbreviate? It's January. Okay, it's January. January 11th, 1922. Single. So yeah, so she never married. She never married at all. Um, yeah, never had another job. Always just at home. Birthplace. Okay. Montrose, Pennsylvania. So that's where she was born. I don't know when she moved. Elizabeth Funk? Is that what this is? Fink? Oh no, wait, doesn't her Frink. It's Frink. Okay, yeah, Frink. There it is. Okay, yeah. So both her parents were from Montrose. We'll look that up in a second. What, local registry? Oh my god! Wait. Local registrar, that's Harry, right? Isn't that's Harry? That's Harry Lewis. Hold on, wait. What was Harry's middle name? I'm blanking on it. Hold on. What was Harry's middle name? I mean, I'm gonna look it up real because I don't have it recorded here. What was Harry's? Hold on, because that says H.W. Lewis or H.M. H.M. or H.W. Uh, it's an M. Yeah, Harry M. Lewis. That's him. So okay, for context, Harry Lewis is also in this photo that we're researching. Actually, hold on, let me pull it up real quick here. Oh, sorry. Creepy Victorian children jump scare. So Harry is number 2 right there. Harry is number 2 right here. And this means that he filed the death certificate because he was the local registrar, which I do remember that was one of his jobs that we discovered when we researched him. So he signed. Oh, wow, that's crazy. So number 2 signed off on the death certificate for number 10. Whoa. That's crazy. Informant G.S. Baldwin. Oh, that's her father. Okay. So yeah, so January 11th, 1922 is when she died. Pneumonia. Okay. Oh, and she had epilepsy. It wasn't the cause of death, but it was apparently contributing. She died of pneumonia. Burial Sunnyside, which I think is the grave that we saw on the thing. Okay, so she was. Maybe that's why she never married, because she had. I don't know when the epilepsy took form. It says several. It just says for years. It says several years for the epilepsy. She had pneumonia. It says here for 5 days, and then epilepsy for several. Okay, let's look at. Let's go ahead and let's look at her grave. So let's see. Okay. So yeah, 1881, Montrose County, Pennsylvania. Death age, yeah, so she was 40. She was 40 when she died. Sunnyside Cemetery. Her mother died in 1912. Wow. Okay, so and there's nothing else here. Just, pictures of the grave. And then yeah, that's her brother Arthur. Wow, and her father lived to be with another 14 years after his daughter's death. But she also never married. Okay, so that means, okay, so we've researched 10 people so far. Mary Baldwin is number 10. Of the 10 people we've researched so far, almost halfway, only 3 of them got married? That's crazy. Only 3 of them got married and had kids. Flora, Marion, and Harry. Now, to be fair, some of them didn't get married because they died young. Like Eliza, Ruth, and Harry Fosselman up here. Okay. I think then, because we don't really have anything else to go off of here. Oh, wait, hold on. We do have something for her mother here. Ms. Baldwin was a daughter of George Frink and Mary Cardinal Frink. She was the wife of George S. Baldwin. They were the parents of 2 known children. She was survived by her husband, her son Arthur F., and her daughter Mary. That's all we got. That's all we got for her. Okay. Oh, something we can do real quick. Let me pull up. Okay, let's look up. I'll pull up George real quick. Because I want to see, do we have an 1880 census for him? Yes. Okay, so this is 1880 census here is when George. This is before. Let's see, where is. Oh, here we go. George 25. Oh, wait a second. Oh, okay. Wait, Liz, what son? Why? Okay, there we go. She is married. Okay, I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what? Why is he? Okay, because okay, so he's living with his father still. Wait, retired. What does that say? Retired harness maker? Makes harnesses? And this says he's a printer here, which does make sense. So this is before. This has to be like right before. Oh, wait, no. Arthur is right here. Okay. I was confused because, like, I think they're all living together, but, like, seeing son here, I thought that, like, Arthur, this marking for son was still referring to George's father. But no. Okay. So, yeah. So Arthur is alive. Um. Okay. So this is like a year before she was born. This is a year before Mary was born. and he was a printer. Which makes sense that if he's a printer in 1880, that in 1900, he's an editor. I'm really curious to see if we can find out what he's an editor for, which I think we'll probably get to next. Because I think next what we're going to look at newspapers. Specifically we'll start with looking at Mary, and then if there's not much on Mary, we'll start looking for her father or mother. I especially want to see if we can find her mother's obituary. Okay, Mary Baldwin. We'll do 1880 to 1900. We'll start with Wyoming County. And we'll just see how much there is. Oh, okay. Decent amount. Wait, no. Not two. We want oldest first. So what's the oldest thing we have? Okay. So right off the bat... it looks like there is another Mary Baldwin in the area, in this county. So we gotta begin to look out for that. This is not the same Mary Baldwin because she would be 3 years old at this point, and I doubt she's selling land for $1,500 when she's 3 years old. Let's see, 1887, she'd be 6. I can't... Dixon. I don't know where Dixon is in this case. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off real quick. I just realized we're in the middle of ads. So I'll hold off on looking at any more newspapers until we come back from ads. In the meantime, I'm actually going to use this opportunity to stand up and stretch real quick. I started talking for a second and forgot I was muted. What I was saying was that I just realized that there likely isn't going to be any... I don't know. Well, okay, we know that Mary and her family, the Baldwins, had to move to Tacanic in before 1888, but after 1881. So sometime between 1881 and 1888 is when they moved to Tacanic from where she was living before. Which actually, hold on, we didn't look up. Where is Montrose? Okay, I'll hold off on doing that until we get back until the ads are done, which they should be done pretty soon here. All right, I think we're back from ads now. Let's look. Let's look. Okay, so what I decided to do, because I realized we forgot to do this, was I was going to look up where Montrose is first, compared to Tacanic. Oh. Okay, so it's not... Oh, whoops, that's not what I meant to click on. Click on this. So that's Montrose. Okay, so they moved south. Montrose also looks like it's kind of a smaller town in Susquehanna County. All right. So now, so that makes me think that any of these ones, like from the, like this one's definitely not going to be her because I don't think they would have moved yet. But all these ones after 1888, I can probably agree with that. It's her. But it looks like Mary Baldwin is kind of a common name. Mary Baldwin of Dixon, who has been visiting at G. Donnie's returned home Saturday. Okay, I don't think this is her. I don't think this is her. Mary R. Baldwin in Harper's Bazaar. Okay, so this is a story. That's not the right Mary Baldwin that we're looking for. But this one. Okay, this is where I saw the name before. Because, yeah, okay, Juvenile Christian Endeavor Society was organized at the Presbyterian Church Sunday with the following officers: President George Kittredge, Vice President Amy Brown, Treasurer Mary Baldwin. Okay, we saw this newspaper article before when we were researching Amy Brown, who's number... What number is she? She's number 5 in this photo. Yeah, she's number 5 in this photo. Okay. So that's why, yeah, so I had seen Mary Baldwin's name in the newspapers before this. I'm also realizing that, like, a lot of them, I think the connection comes from their church. Because a lot of the people that we've researched so far have been involved with the Presbyterian Church. Let's see. Okay, this one is 1893. Let's see. The Little Mrs. Grace Carrington, Leslie Chase, Mary Baldwin, Marjorie DeWitt, and Ruth Pyatt entertained their young friends on Monday afternoon with a program of singing, charades, recitations, dialogues, and tableau. Tableau? It's tableau, right? Okay, so right here we also have Leslie Chase. Leslie Chase is also in this photo. She is number... We haven't researched her yet. She's number 14, according to this. And at this point, she would be 12? Yeah, 12. About 12 years old. Okay. I am noticing that there is this sudden tick in, like, this area. So I don't know what that's going to be about. I guess we'll find out when we get there. But I already know right off the bat that these are not the right person that we're looking for because this is Mrs. Mrs. Mary Baldwin, meaning whoever this Mary Baldwin is not her maiden name, that's her married name. And we know our Mary Baldwin never married, so none of these are her. Yeah, none of these are her. Wow, almost all of these are related to that. Okay, here we go. This is a miss, so this is Miss Mary Baldwin, so this is likely to be her. Okay, Miss Mary Baldwin visited her parents Sunday. One is her. No, okay, just that one. Okay, so this is interesting. This, to me, then, says that she wasn't living with her parents at this point. This is 1899, March of 1899. But by 1900, she is living with them. Maybe she went to college for a little bit? I don't know. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is the one where there's like a million of them in 1899 for some reason. Last Sunday, the following persons united with the Presbyterian Church here: Mr. and Mrs. George McLeod, Mr. and Mrs. Fred B. Jennings, Mrs. Bradley Wakeman, Miss Mary Baldwin, Miss Ira Henry, and David Donley and his son. The latter two by letter. I guess that means that they weren't there in person. They just sent a letter. I guess that's what that means. Okay, so she's still involved with the Presbyterian Church. We know that from this. All right, that's just the same article. Okay, 1899. Let's see what this one says. Oh, there's a... What is this? Vanderbilt Weds Fair. Today saw the union of millions upon millions of dollars, magnificent presents. Bride and groom showered with all kinds of loving remembrances by friends and relatives. Wait. Oh, this is a different Mary Baldwin. This is... I didn't see that. Miss Mary Baldwin toll-free. Okay. I thought for a second that, like... I was like, why are they talking about the Vanderbilts? That doesn't make it... Okay, but that's what that is. Okay, hold on. What's this one? September 1900. What does it say? We give place this week to a letter from Mary Baldwin, a daughter of W.S. Baldwin of Taconic Township, who has gone to the state of Washington to teach school. She writes entertainingly and doubtless has many friends who will be glad to hear from her. Okay, well, this is interesting because this says daughter of W.S. Baldwin. It could have just been that could just be a misprint because her father's name was George S. Baldwin. So I don't know. I can't tell if that's a misprint, but if that's true, then that means that she went to Washington to teach. So she was... That's crazy far if she did. But that also means that, like, she got some sort of... She was at least teaching at some point. And this was in This is in September of 1900. When was that census record taken? 22nd of June. Okay, so she... I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that that's the same Mary Baldwin. Okay, well, either way, let's go ahead then and change this to 1901 to 1910. Okay. Here we go. So this is 1903. This is a little bit later. Ooh, okay. Miss Mary Baldwin, daughter of postmaster. Okay, wow, his her father was postmaster too. He did everything. Jeez. G.S. Baldwin is seriously ill and fears are entertained for her recovery. Okay, so she was already, so this is 1903. This is like a little under 20 years before she dies. So she was already getting sick. I feel like she was possibly somebody who was constantly getting sick. And I mean, if she had epilepsy, that might be, what they're referring to. And then here's another one from a week later. Miss Mary Baldwin, who has been seriously ill, is rapidly recovering. Okay. Normally, it's like what happens a lot with these like newspaper articles is that when they say something like that in the beginning, like when they say something like this, like, oh, they're sick but they're recovering, a lot of times like 2 days later they like die. But we know that's not the case here, thankfully. We know that she does live another almost 20 years. But I think this does show that she was always possibly having problems with health. What is this? Oh, these are court cases. What is this? Cases of trespass and shall be fast appeal, which were set down for trial this week, have been settled by the parties. Following cases on the list have been continued by agreement, namely. Okay, this one, Mary Altman et al. Versus Gardner Taylor. Sicker Facus Sir Mortgage. What is that? I've never heard of that before. Hold on. Scare. What is that? Okay. This says here, okay, yeah, so a writ, Scrifacus is a writ requiring a person to show why a judgment regarding a record or patent should not be enforced or annulled. And it sounds like in this case, with the Sir Mortgage down here on this part of it, that it might be, if this is our Mary Baldwin, which it might not be, it's hard to say exactly if this is or not. She could have maybe been trying to get like something, like suing over something with like a mortgage. That's what I'm getting from this, maybe. But I'm not 100% sure that that is her. Oh wait, hold on, what is this? Necrology. Oh, this is the different. Oh wait, W.S. Baldwin, Miss Roe Baldwin, wife of W. Scott Baldwin. Hold on, wait. So that means that this other one about going to, yeah, W.S. Baldwin of Titanic. So does that mean, okay, so that means if this is saying that this is a daughter of Mary Baldwin is a daughter of W.S. Baldwin. So that means that this Baldwin, W.S. Baldwin, was also married to Mary Baldwin, who's, where is she? This one, Mary Rowe, that's Mrs. Mary Rowe Baldwin. God, that's very confusing. So there's three Mary, that means there's three Mary Baldwins in Titanic during this time. Three. Miss Rowe Baldwin, Miss Mary Rowe Baldwin, our Mary Baldwin, and the daughter. The daughter who went to Washington. But, shoot. Okay, wait. Hold on. I want to check some stuff real quick before we go forward, because I want to make sure that... So this Mary Baldwin, again, because it's Miss, I'm fairly... And this says GS Baldwin. I am fairly sure it is the right one. Same with this one. This one, I'm not 100% sure. It's probably not. I'm gonna get rid of this one, I think, because I don't think this is there. But where Miss... Okay, wait, hold on. Mary R. Baldwin died 1905. Mary R. Baldwin, don't know birth year. Death 1905. Spouse Arthur Frick Baldwin. No. Okay, that's this Mary Baldwin. Yeah, Winfield Scott Baldwin. Okay, hold on, wait. I just want to see how old his kids are, just to make sure that we're not getting them confused. Okay, wife is Mary. Oh, this one says May. This is May Baldwin. Mimi and Belle. Either way, though, her daughter's 7. Meaning she was born in 1872. Which means she would be 16 in this photo. Which that's definitely not her right there. So yeah, so that I just want to double check. I just wanted to double check to make sure that this Mary Baldwin that we see in this case is not. But I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake because it should be May. It's May. This is May Baldwin. So yeah, so this one we can get rid of because we know it's not the right one. That means this one might also not be the right one. This one I'm fairly confident is her. And this one is 2. That's Miss Rose Baldwin. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, here's that. Is this that same court record? Mary Baldwin et al. Versus George W. DeWolf. Opinion filed. Intentions of defendant not sustained. Judgment directed to be entered against the defendant in sum of $53.34 unless exemptions be filed according to law. Again, I can't confirm that that's the right Mary Baldwin. Okay, here we go. 1907. Miss Mary Baldwin, daughter of ex-postmaster George S. Baldwin of this place, is ill at the home of her father and is thought to be in a serious condition. She may not survive many days. Jesus. Okay, yeah, she got sick all the time. This is several years later in 1907. And we know she lived another 15 years, but dang. Okay, yeah. So I think this is maybe part of the reason why she never married, because she kept getting sick. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's Mary R. Baldwin, and that's Mrs. Mary. Okay, yeah. So none of those are the right. So there's only like one or two that we were able to 100% confirm were the right Mary Baldwin. Okay, but let's move on now. 1911, 1920. Oh wow, almost nothing. Just one. This is a crazy change from last time. Okay, hold on. Mrs. Gertrude Cram, Mary Baldwin, Daisy Dennison, May Cutts, Fanny and Ruth Metzer, Annie Sickler, Lil Heckman, Ethel and Katie Carrington, and Mary Slauson comprised a party of little people who met at the home of Fanny Dornsife on Monday to celebrate her 5th birthday, and a jolly time they had. Hold on, wait. Lil Heckman. Heckman. That's a name that's... Yeah, Lillian Heckman. Okay. That, again, makes me think that this is the right Mary Baldwin, because, you know, she's sharing something with somebody else who's also likely her age. Okay, so Lillian Heckman also goes by Lil. Okay. But that's all we have for that period. I'm afraid if I get rid of Wyoming County, it's just going to be like, yeah. It's all just 14. I mean, there are some here, because Luzerne is the nearby county, and so is Lackawanna. What's her middle name? Helen. So Mary H. Okay, that's a marriage for a different Mary. Oh wait, how about, hold on. What if I change it to specifically Miss? Oh yeah, Mary E. Those are the ones. Yeah, that's the wedding. What's this one? Oh wait, yeah, her mother. This is when her mother passes away. Okay, Mrs. George S. Baldwin died suddenly shortly after noon on Saturday after a short illness. She is survived by her husband and two children, Arthur Baldwin, a resident of Dust Shore, Pennsylvania, and Miss Mary Baldwin, who lived at home. She had been in poor health for some years. Is that referring to her mother? I think that's referring to her mother. For a second, I thought that last sentence there like is referring to Mary, but no, I think that's referring to her mother. It says had. Because had there, I think, is referring to the deceased in this case. And this is the same article, just in a different newspaper. Miss Georgia S. Baldwin died suddenly short. She's survived by her husband and two children, Arthur, Miss Mary Baldwin. Yeah, is that? Yeah, it's the same article, but it's all the same together. Okay, wait. So, okay, the Luzerne. Um, oh, maybe was killed by Miss Mary Baldwin of Spokane, Washington. Okay, yeah, so that's a different. That is a different Mary Baldwin. I think we can say for sure now. Okay, hold on. Let's bring it back to just Mary Baldwin. Let's change the year. Oh wait, yeah, there's not going to be much because she died in 1922. Actually, wait, hold on. Let me change it specifically to. Where's Wyoming? There we go, Wyoming County. Oh. Okay, the only thing that's coming up is. Yeah, that's a different. That's a Mrs. Mary Baldwin, so that's not who we're looking for. Wow, there really is not a lot on Mary for this one. Her real name's Helen. Nothing. Okay, hold on. Let's do Mary Baldwin again, and let's make it Luzerne specifically. Okay, here we go. This is her. Titanic death. Miss Mary Baldwin of Titanic died on Wednesday. She is survived by her father, George S. Baldwin, and one brother, Arthur. Okay, it doesn't really tell us much. This looks like that's the same one, just a little bit shorter. Okay, hold on. What about this one? Miss Mary Baldwin died at her home on Putnam Street of pneumonia on Wednesday morning. She is survived by her father, George S. Baldwin, and one brother, Arthur Baldwin. I mean, yeah, that is, and again, the pneumonia thing is the same as what says on her death certificate. This is a few days later. The funeral of Miss Mary Baldwin was held at the residence on Putnam Street on Saturday afternoon. Okay, I think that might be where these end because I don't see. Yeah, these can't be her because she's gone. Mary Baldwin's. Oh, okay, that's talking about a different. But yeah, so all these other ones afterwards can't really. I mean, I'll go for like another year just to like see, but this just shows. This is also just showing how many Mary Baldwins there are, and it's really hard to like differentiate between which one is which. Okay, hold on. So that's Lucerne County. There a Lackaw. What is it? Lackawanna? There we go. Or Lackawanna. Uh, Here we go. This one looks a little longer. Miss Mary Baldwin, daughter of Justice of the Peace George Baldwin, passed away Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock after a lingering illness. Okay, yeah. So there's really not much about her, unfortunately. And this one is. Okay, here we go. The funeral of Miss Mary Baldwin was held Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock with interment at Sunnyside. And yeah, we found her. We know her grave. Miss Baldwin is survived by her father, George Baldwin, and brother Arthur of Salamanca, New York. That's a different place than what the other ones have said. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, and all these other ones aren't going to be. Um. Okay, I want to go back. I want to go. Okay, I want to do a few things. I want to go back, change the year from 1880 to 1890, and I want to change it to Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania. 'Cause that's where she was born, but it doesn't look like there is anything. Okay. Let me pull up. I'm gonna pull up one other thing. I'm gonna pull up Family Search real quick. I doubt there's gonna be anything in Family Search, but you never know. Okay, so let me look up. I Mary Baldwin. Um, birthplace. Her birthplace is. Hold on, what's it called? Montrose. And she was born in 1881. Oh, n- Found her in family search. Okay, wait. Mary, born 28th February 1881 in Montrose Township, Berks, Pennsylvania, United States. Her father, George Scott Baldwin, was 26. Her mother, Elizabeth Frink, was 32. She lives in Taconic Township, Wyoming, Pennsylvania, United States in 1900, and Wyoming, Pennsylvania, United States in 1920. She died on January 11th, 1922 in Taconic, at the age of 40, and was buried in Sunnyside. I mean, that's basically all that we already know. So I don't think there's anything extra here. Yeah, just the census records and the death certificate. Yeah, this is literally all the same stuff that we found already. But I mean, there could be more information here about George. Let me just see real quick. These are all just census records. That's it. It's just census records. Okay, yeah. So, what's this? Collaborate. All right then. That was just somebody saying that they got attached to the wrong George. Okay, yeah. So there's really nothing here, unfortunately. So let's actually go ahead and look up George. See if there's anything on her or on him. George Baldwin, formerly of this place, was married to a Miss Wooden of York State last week. They visited friends here on their wedding trip. This is not, that's not our guy. That is not our guy. G.A. Baldwin. No, these are G, Ethel G, H. No, okay. Okay, so there's nothing for when they were living in Montrose. Let's bring it back to George and Wyoming County. Okay, we got a few things here. Hold on. Okay, this is June and July of 1881. Let's look here real quick. Misters B.L. and George Baldwin and Mrs. Chapman of Montrose were in town. Okay, so here we go. Look, in 1881. June of 1881. When was Mary born again? February of 1880. Okay, so this was right... This is right when Mary was... So he's already visiting the town. We don't know why they're visiting, but they are visiting. That's in June. And then July. Okay. Hold on. Cyrus D. Camp has retired from the proprietorship of the Taconic Republican, which is a newspaper, which is this newspaper. It's this newspaper we're reading right now. And George S. Baldwin and Charles M. Chapman of Montrose have assumed control of the paper. They are practical printers and have the element of successful publishers. Okay, so that's what he was the editor of. That's what he was. That's what they're referring to in I'm assuming it might be. I mean, he could have been an editor for a different paper later on, but in this 1900 census, it does say editor, so it could be for that paper. Okay, so that's why. Oh, okay, there's a lot in 1881, but not much beyond that. There's only like one a year after that. That's when he bought the paper. I was nervous that like if he was involved in a paper that his name it would be like oversaturated and there'd be so much of his name. Oh, okay. So they moved. Okay, so she was born in Montrose, but they moved to Tacanic literally right after her, like a few months after her birth. So she probably Tacanic, only knew Tacanic her whole life. Yeah. Mr. George Baldwin of the Republican will occupy with his family the rooms adjoining the Republican office as soon as vacated by Mr. C.D. Champ. Okay. Uh, what's the September 9th, 1881? Oh, no, okay. Okay, never mind. This is not the right Baldwin. This might be the right Baldwin. George Baldwin drove up to Folkestone on Wednesday to visit oil well number 2. Okay, they didn't really get anything. Wait, hold on, what is this? Mr. L.H. Frink of Montrose spent several days here this week visiting his sister, Mrs. George Baldwin, wife of the senior editor of the Republican. Okay, so he is an editor. Senior editor. Okay. Uh, what is this one? The hearing, which was held at Chester Hall on Tuesday, George Baldwin Esquire appeared for the prosecution. Wait. Suspected murder at Great Bend. Okay, this is a different. That's a different George Baldwin. Or, yeah, that's a different George Baldwin. Let's see. Republican County Convention convened last week at the courthouse on Monday last at 2 o'clock p.m. and was called to order by the county chairman, R.W. Dante. The convention electing George Baldwin's secretaries. Okay, so that's what he's doing. He's just on the convention. Which maybe is how he got involved with being Justice of the Peace. Okay, this one we know is... You know this one is him. Oh, it's the Temple Lodge thing. Okay, so he was in the Temple. Knights Templar. Yeah. And look, yeah, he's also with Bradley W. Lewis, so that's the Lewis family's father. Are there any other names I recognize here? No. Oh, Henry Metcalf. Yeah. Uh, what is this one? What does this say? Wait. Uh, wait, what? Hold on. Wait, what does this say? This is the Wyoming Democrat. Hold on. Wait. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the context of this. Okay, wait. Hold on. Our neighbor of the Republican, through his proxy editor, alleges that we made an untrue personal attack upon James E. Freer, the Republican candidate for district attorney. What that untruthfulness consists in the proxy editor does not state, and we take it for granted that so long as the Republican cannot disprove the allegations in the alleged personal attack, they must be true. We stated in the personal attack that Mr. Freer had once before been nominated for district attorney in this county and was defeated. We asked the Republican editor if that is untrue. If so, will he please state in what particular? Mere denial is not a valid answer to the charges preferred against Mr. Freer. Something more is wanted by the voters who are to choose a prosecuting attorney for this county. We stated also in that article, which our neighbor says was untrue, that Mr. Freer opposed and voted against the Prohibition Amendment in June last, and therefore has no claim upon the voters of the Prohibition Party. We ask neighbor Baldwin if that is untrue. If so, we call upon him to point out the untruthfulness. Will he do it, or will he sneak behind some misleading explanation, as he has in the controversy upon prices of advertising and job printing? More likely the latter. Whoa, they're calling him out. They're calling George out. Dang. Instead of defending the Republican candidate for district attorney, he launches out with a personal tirade of abuse against the editor of this paper. We beg to inform him that the editors of the Democrat are not candidates for office, and if they were, they would court just such opposition as it won't to come from neighbor Baldwin. Or as is want? I think it's supposed to be want. As to the starvation prices, which our neighbor alleges that we indulge in at this office and of which our patrons do not complain, we would politely inform George Baldwin, publisher, but not owner of the Republican newspaper, that we own the Democrat office and are not in debt and do not have to cheat our employees out of their wages, and that although our prices are low, we have been enabled to, through economy and strict attention to business, to pay our debts and have never swindled our creditors out of several thousands of dollars. As to popularity, neighbor Baldwin is not popular enough to get the post office here, which he very much wanted and needs in order that he might keep up his high prices and small amount of business. Damn. That is, oh god, if I had a I wish I had uh I wish I had like a sound effect for like what's the guys that like freak out like in the at the end of the rap battle? I mean, the closest thing I have is, hold on. That's the closest thing I have, but I don't know if it's a little late for that at this point. But damn. Wow, they are ripping him the snow. Apparently, okay, so George was accusing them of like all this that they had a personal attack against the Republican candidate for district attorney, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Be more specific. We don't know what you're talking about." And then apparently he also says some stuff about uh yeah, starvation prices, which our neighbor alleges that we indulge in at this office, and of which our patrons do not complain. We would politely inform George Baldwin, publisher but not owner of the Republican newspaper, that we own the Democrat office and are not in debt and do not have to cheat employees out of their wages, and that although our prices are low, we have been enabled through economy and strict attention to business to pay our debts and have never swindled our creditors out of several thousands of dollars. Wow. So, okay. So he's also saying that he. So Baldwin accused this newspaper that they're cheap. They're not making any money because they charge too little for their services, for newspaper, for like advertisements, and for like the paper itself. It sounds like, but they're saying that like, and also they're calling him out saying that like George Baldwin is just the publisher and not the owner of the Republican newspaper. So they're basically like, you don't own your own newspaper. Why are you going after us? Why are you saying this stuff? And And as to popularity, Neighbor Baldwin is not popular enough to get the post office here, which he very much wanted. Well, we know he does get it. We know he does get it at a later date. In order, yeah, and so there's what they're saying is that he he wants the post office here, which he very much wanted and needs in order that he might keep up his high prices and small amount of business. So they're saying, yeah, your prices are high, but you don't get as much business as we do. That is crazy. Unfortunately, I don't think the Wyoming Republican is not in this database because the other newspapers we were looking at earlier. Oh no, this is the Taconic Republican. There might not be that much. Yeah, because this is all from the Wyoming Democrat. So I think the Republican is not in this database, and that's why we're not seeing him as much in this database, because his newspaper is not in this database. God, that's crazy. That's so funny. Uh, R.M. Platt, James P. Harp, George Baldwin, A.E. Betts, and Chase Space of this place, and H.C. Titus of Lemon are in attendance upon court at Williamsport this week as witnesses in the Shook case. Huh. Okay, so he was called for a witness. I don't know what the Shook case is. Okay. I want to try something else because I did notice that in a lot of other instances, his name is listed not as George Baldwin, but G.S. Baldwin. Okay, that's why there's. Okay, remember what I said about him not being in that many newspapers? I was wrong. I was wrong. Okay, here's the Titanic Republican. That's why it wasn't showing up. Okay, yeah, so he owned this newspaper. But unfortunately, yeah, this is way too many to go through right now. And we do have ads starting soon. So, okay, while ads are going, I'll try and see if I'll try to see if I can find the newspaper article uh that this one is talking about. Okay, so this is September of 1889. Okay, I'll change it to 1889 or September. Okay, yeah, a lot of these are just him being the publisher. Uh, is that all that these are? Okay, July. August. Okay, wait, hold on. So that's Republican Club meeting. A meeting of the Central Republican Club will be held in D. Billings Hall of Titanic evening, October 3rd, 1889 at 7:30. Okay. It looks like most of these are just yeah, these are all just and this is just 62. The 62 at the 300 that we saw before, almost a third or no, a fifth of them are just this one year and they're mostly just his name. Can you go back to the September-ish ones? This says one of one, one of one, one of one, one of one, one of one. Okay, hold on. September 6th, this says one of two. Where's the other one? Okay, that's talking about the Republican convention. Okay, hold on. Can I... Hold on, wait. Let me change it to Wyoming Democrat. And then specifically make it September 1889. The Wyoming Democrat. Oh, is this it? Hold on, this might be it. Okay, wait. Hold on. Okay, I think this is it. This is it. This is the beef. This is the beef right here. Okay, wait, are we back from the ad? Okay, we're not back from the ad yet. I'll hold off from reading it until we get back from the ad. This is okay, this is actually really interesting. We're about to read the so because this is September 13th. That other one was where is it? It was this one, September 20th. So this is the start of it. from this one from September 13th. Yeah, so a week later. So yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, I'm actually really excited to read this. Okay, I think ads are done. So let's see what garnered this response. So he's making accusations. Let's see what were the accusations that started all this. The Wyoming Democrat of last week makes a very mean, untrue personal attack upon James E. Freer, the Republican candidate for district attorney. Now, perhaps in the light of the fact that the senior editor of the paper was once nominated for burgess of this borough, and in the face of his unpopularity in his own party, the caucus was reconvened and his name taken off the ticket, and by virtue of the large veto he received as candidate for presidential electo, having made a personal effort for a showing, he may wish to place upon the Democratic ticket the name of the junior editor who has been a lawyer for some years and who left a lucrative business for a printing office where the prices are so low that starvation stares the publishers in the face. Moral: never abuse a person personally who stands far above yourself morally, mentally, and physically. Damn. So he's saying, okay, so basically he's saying that the reason why they're attacking James E. Freer is because the senior editor for that paper was once nominated for burgess of his borough. Like he because he's jealous because he was removed from the ticket for a different position, and then he wants to have his junior editor be he wants his junior editor to be a to take the spot. And he's saying that the person that was a lawyer and left the lucrative business for a printing office, where the prices are so low that starvation stares the publishers in the face. Brother Day of the Democrat must have been rather excited last week. Okay, hold on. This is a different person, I guess, or a different person who works at the Democrat. He says we resorted to falsehood in alleging he did certain things. Wait, is this another thing he's accusing them of? Baldwin, what are you doing? You're mudslinging out here. He says we resorted to falsehood in alleging he did certain things. Now that he may be somewhat cooled off, we wish he would read our paper of August 30th and point out, if he can, where we allege that he did or did not do anything. Perhaps this is another of his equivalent dodges, whereby he feels justified in accusing us of falsehood. No, friend Day, we did not allege that you charged the Agricultural Society $30 for printing their premium list, and afterwards did the same work for $9. We simply stated that we never did such a thing. But the... oh. Wow, okay, that's a crazy defense. To be like, we didn't say that you did that. We just said that we didn't do that. We simply stated that we never did such a thing. But the case fits splendidly, and you are just the fellow to wear it. Therefore, let us consider the matter briefly. You admit that you charged $30 for printing the premium list, but claim that it was more than 3 times as large and 3 times the work upon it, that there was $9 as charged. Phew. What was it you said about falsehood and glass houses? There was certainly something in your paper about these things against us. Oh, consistency, thou art a jewel. I, the premium list of Wyoming County Agricultural Society, had been even twice as large as it was at any time since the organization of that society. There would not have been receipts from enough from the various sources for bringing in money to have paid the premiums, and yet the premiums were paid and dividends declared. And from year to year, the premium list was enlarged, not diminished, and the last list you printed was about 1/3 larger than the first one, for proof of which we refer you the in in 1876. There were 240 articles on the list. In 1886, the last year you printed, the list contained 350 articles. The list has always been published in the Democrat whenever the printing of the same was given to that office, and we fail to discover where the society has ever reduced the amount of work on it. You admit that you once got $30 for work and afterwards got but $9. And if you will prove to us that there was at any time $21 less work to do on the premium list than when you received $30 for it, we will beg your pardon for the falsehood you accuse us of which we are not guilty of. In regard to our prices for work, we never claimed to be the only taxpayer's friend or to do work at less than living prices, but we have done work for parties at our regular rates, which the parties have informed us were under the rates of our dear friend Alvin Day. Please remember that we do not claim that we are doing work at starvation prices, but we do claim that we do not take from one party what we lose in lower prices to another. Okay, there's beef. There is beef between these two newspapers. There is beef between these newspapers. That is crazy. We are seeing a rivalry. This is a rivalry. Which was one Republican? Hold on, wait. Go back. Where is it? Okay, it was this one. Our neighbor of the Republican alleged that we yeah, this is them saying that. Yeah, okay. So now this makes more sense after reading that, because we can like kind of see like, you know, yeah, what they didn't say what was untrue. Oh yeah, and we beg to inform him that the editors of the Democrat are not candidates for office, and if they were, they would court just an opposition as is wont to come from neighbor Baldwin. As to the starvation prices, which our neighbor alleges that we indulge in at this office, and of which our patrons do not complain, we would politely inform George Baldwin, publisher, but not owner of the Republican newspaper, that we own the Democrat office and are not in debt and do not have to cheat our employees out of their wages. And that although our prices are low, we have been enabled through economy and strict attention to business to pay our debts and have never swindled our creditors out of several thousands of dollars. As to popularity, neighbor Baldwin is not popular enough to get the post office here, which he very much wanted and needs in order that he might keep up his high prices and small amount of business. God, that hits so much harder now. Now that we have more context. Now I wonder, are they kind of doing the same thing that he was doing, where they're saying that like, and are not in debt and do not have to cheat our employees out of their wages? Because I don't think he says anything about that. So are they? I think they might be accusing him of like they're like doing what he was doing to their guy, where they're like saying like we're not saying you do that, but we're saying that we don't do that, and that although our parties we have never swindled our creditors out of several thousands of dollars. That's I think they're attacking him like subtly, like he was talking about. God, this is so funny. We got a newspaper like battle here. But it doesn't look like okay, wait, so this one is from September 20th. What does this one say? Okay, wait. The Wyoming Democrat is trying to make political capital out of the fact that the Republican candidate for county treasurer bears the name of John Bonnell Overfield. We consider that it is giving the voters of Wyoming County credit for a very small amount of common sense to intimate that the name Bonnell will have any weight with them at the polls. Okay, this is something completely different that he's accusing them. That it is an election season. It is an election season. Hold on, okay, is there more? Please let there be more. I want there to be more. Okay, hold on, let's go to... We go to October. Uh... Okay. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. Oh, what about this one? Um, okay, no, that's not it. Okay, no, those are ads. Okay. Uh, oh, wait, what is this thing? We understand that a new lodge of POS of A has been instituted at Bowman's Creek. Will be membership of about 50. It must be the Wyoming Democrat is not generally taken up that way. I feel like this is I don't really get it because I don't think we have like context for the time period or like the region, but I feel like this is an insult. I feel like this is an insult. What else do we got here? Okay, hold on. This is another thing from the mechanic. Wait, hold on. This is October. Hold on, wait. Okay, hold on. Is this a response? This is like a month later. Is this the response? District Attorneyship. I observe that the editor of the Wyoming Democrat is somewhat exercised in regard to the temperance principles of the Republican candidate for the office of District Attorney. Now, this we can but regard as one of the hopeful signs of the times And if any of our doubting brethren in the temperance cause should be inclined to grumble under his breath something like Satan reproving sin, we'll push him right up and remind him of the prophecy of the good time coming and the millennium, also of uncertain date. But it seems here that Mr. Furious really did not make how much temper. Okay, this is a different thing. This is about temperance. This isn't the rivalry. I think that was it. I think that was it. Because yeah, this is all just him being in the newspaper. Oh, what's September. That's the one we just saw. I'll make sure again that, yeah, there aren't any. Wow, that was that was crazy. I can't believe that we found that there was a basically the equivalent of like a rivalry between these two newspapers. Well, let me do this again because I know there was a lot. There was 300, and it doesn't start until like, yeah, it doesn't start till like 1885. So let's actually go through those ones. And this is them, yeah, coming to there. I think we already saw these. Okay, hold on, what is this? L.H. Frink and wife of Montrose spent Sunday with his family of G.S. Baldwin of the Republican. Okay, that's just family visiting. Looks like it's mostly possibly people visiting. Yeah, this is just family visiting. Yeah, these are all just people, an involvement, yeah. Yeah, that's all a lot of these are, it looks like. Well, and children have returned from a visit for several weeks at Montreux. Yeah, these are just things about them visiting and traveling to other places. E. Baldwin of Montreux spent Sunday with his son. Okay, yeah. So his father was basically visiting him a lot from we can get from this. Okay, yeah, and all this is now it's getting into like when his name is on this. So that makes me nervous that if I go to 1890 to 91. Okay, not as many. Because it specifically stops at 91. Hold on, let's specifically look for George. Okay, that one we already looked at. Oh wait, no. Why did I put 1890 to 91? It should be 91 to 1900. There we go. Don't have that many. Well, this is George. Oh, is this when he was... Wait, hold on. Maybe this is when he was postmaster. Executive Committee: Bradley W. Lewis, Henry F. Metcalf, James W. Pryor, Henry J. Freer, Stuart M. Williams, James E. Shaw, Addison Mohiran Ash, Austin Burgess, and George S. Baldwin. Yeah, that's Bradley and Henry. That's just a Templars thing. Okay, yeah, these are elections for Templars. Mrs. George Baldwin, wife of editor Baldwin of the Republican, accompanied by their son and daughter, are spending the week with friends at Montrose. I'll keep that one because it actually specifically says daughter, and it's a good one to show, like, you know, that they were going back and forth between Montrose a lot to visit friends and family who were still living there. Okay. Hold on. What is this? Okay. In the New Age of last week, the following appeared in the correspondence of the above-named fellow. The Canic Republican says the Scranton Times gives us the credit for the defeat of K.M. Brinker, late Republican candidate for town clerk. If Brother Baldwin had dropped down in Eaton election day, he could have easily heard that credit placed to his account. Mr. Brinker's supporters attributed his defeat to the non-appearance of his name on the Republican ticket, and some of them were engaged in advising plans to saddle the negligence on the printer, who was George S. Baldwin, editor of the Republican. A plausible report has been given by all who handled the precious nomination papers, except editor Baldwin, and he now has the floor. He should explain to right himself with some of the Eaton voters. As we said a fortnight ago, the ticket affair was a rotten piece of business, and the stench is clinging to some person's fingers who played their part in the chicanery. Wait, are they saying that, like, he left off because he's a printer, that he was in charge of, like, printing the ballots or, like, the nominations, and he specifically didn't put this person's name on the Republican ticket? We do not believe there is a showing of truth in the claim of chicanery which Wheelock is so bold in making. But the truth of the matter is, as he well knows, the name of K.M. Rinker was left off of the nomination paper certified to by the election officers, but we do not believe any person has the right to declare that the name was purposefully left off. Now, we fail to find any section in the election laws which would give us the right to insert a name not on the certified list. And if the worthy Wheelock can, we will thank him for pointing the same out to us. He well knew that we printed the tickets just as the papers were handed in to us, and all of this bluster is simply because we remarked that the Scranton Times made a statement which did not quite suit His Royal Highness. The correspondent of that paper is the man to answer for the statement that Freddie should have the credit. It is just possible that the Times man read the Eatonville items in the New Age just before the election. If he did, he must have read the following. Oh, wait, hold on. Rather a jumbled up affair, but nevertheless right to the point, and as it appeared in the Eatonville items, it is fair to suppose that it was from the pen and backed by the fertile imagination of F.I. Wheelock of Eaton, Pennsylvania. They're calling out this person for So they're saying that, like, we didn't put the name on it. They're basically saying we didn't do the name because his name wasn't on the election papers that were given to us. This this newspaper is getting in all kinds of trouble. It feels like. These are all Templar things. Uh, oh, is this talking about a new train? Diamond Express is now making its regular runs between New York and Buffalo, starting from each end at 12 o'clock noon. Huh. This is saying that, okay, all these people from newspapers were on it as like a promotional thing for it. I just want to know if there's more drama. I'm at that point where it's like, oh, I just want to know. Okay, this is talking about Arthur F. Baldwin, son of George S. Baldwin. Yeah, okay, Arthur went to Oberlin College. That's what this is talking about. I just want to double check. These are all still Templars, right? This all looks like temples. Yeah, Knights Templar. Knights Templar elections. A lot of these are just the Knights Templar. What is this? Auditor's report. Auditor's report. Statement of receipts and expenditures of Taconic Borough and Taconic Borough Poor District for year ending March 7th, 1898. Expense account. These are all Knights Templars. Yeah, Templars. Okay, hold on. George Baldwin, a veteran of the Civil War, was mustered out by the last roll call Saturday, March 23rd. Mr. Baldwin came to this place nearly 2 years ago from Lonsdale, PA. Last April, he married. Okay, no, this is a different George Baldwin. Different George Baldwin. Yeah, because George wouldn't be a Civil War vet. I was thinking, it took me a second to think about that, but yeah, George wouldn't be a Civil War veteran. He'd be too young. Okay, hold on. What is this? Editor George Baldwin and family are occupying H.F. Metcalf's cottage at Lake Harry the present week. Okay. Again, this is showing... Okay, so this is why... So even if they weren't at church together, they're family friends, basically. The Baldwins, the Metcalfs, and the Lewises. Okay, that's for George Baldwin. If we change it to G.S. Baldwin... Ooh, yeah, that'll do it. But when was he postmaster? Yeah, these are basically, it's all going to be stuff like this, where it's just his name, but 600, we don't have time to go through that. Where does it say that? We know he was Justice of the Peace in 1910. Okay, by 1907, it says ex-postmaster. So by 1907, he's not postmaster. Is it here? Okay, let's look at 1896, just to see. Oh, no, wait, no. Wait, when was... Oh, wait, no, that was 1890 when the rivalry was. Bonds. Bonds, no. I'm just looking to see if there's anything about him running during this time or being postmaster. I think in the 1903 one, it does say that he is postmaster. Okay, let's change this again. Let's change this to 1901 to 1911. Oof, okay. I'm starting to think that maybe this right here is when he ran for Postmaster General. Because he doesn't show up for that. Yeah, there's like barely anything after that. Still. Hold on, let's go. Yeah, that's all 1902. Okay, let's specifically look at 1903. There's 99. Oh, here we go. Wait. February 1913. Editor G.S. Baldwin's appointment as postmaster of this place was confirmed by the Senate Thursday of last week. Okay, there we go. That's when he was postmaster during this time. Oh yeah, this is the same. Let's see. Okay, hold on. It looks like the 1903 ones are mostly just going to be more the same. Let's go back to doing George Baldwin, 1901 to 1910. Okay. Family. Leaving town. Night. Leaving town. Knights. Okay, and that's the appointed postmaster. That means there's nothing really before it about like him running for postmaster or anything. Or do you run for postmaster, or is postmaster something that's just assigned to you? I'm not entirely sure about that. Oh, wait, hold on. What is this? New man at helm. Upon assuming his duties as postmaster at Titanic, George S. Baldwin turned over the management of his newspaper, The Republican, to his son, Arthur F. Baldwin. An assistant has been hired for the mechanical department, and the new management has started off in fine shape. Okay, so he did. I was gonna wonder, is him being postmaster like during all of this, like him owning a news, like is that a conflict of interest or something like that? So I guess that makes that he would. So he gave it to his son. Okay, hold on. What is this one? May 1903. Hold on. Oh wait, this is about him. Hold on. Yeah, the following is regard to the appointment of a postmaster at this place is taken from the Dunshore Herald of this week. The nicety with which Judge Dunham is said to have adapted himself to the situation in the late contest for the office of postmaster at Titanic has called forth much comment from well-known politicians of that place. The contest was waged by three candidates prominent in their political sphere, namely H.C. Provost, editor George S. Baldwin, and Captain R.W. Bannatyne, each extremely anxious to secure the most influential endorsement possible. And with this purpose in view, nothing could be more natural than a call upon the judge for assistance, which seems to have been made without unnecessary delay, since we are informed by a prominent Republican politician of that place that the judge wrote a letter to the department at Washington in behalf of Mr. Prevost, uh, which letter our informant claims he has seen. Also, that Mr. Bannatyne had informed him that a letter had likewise been written by the judge in his interest, and that it was reported that Judge Dunham had also favored Mr. Baldwin with his autograph. If such are really the facts, it was as smooth a piece of work as could be done by anyone, and at first sight seemed well calculated to please each of the three gentlemen. While doubtless conceding the correctness of the doctrine announced by the good book that a man cannot serve two masters, the judge still seems inclined to the opinion that a politician may even yet lend his support to three men at the same time for the same office when necessary to keep them in good nature for future political use. Dang, okay. So they're accusing the judge of like endorsing all of them so that he can keep political favors. Interesting. So much drama in this small town. So much drama indeed. Oh, and this is okay. This is talking about his wife. This is 1903. It says Mrs. George Baldwin is very ill. Oh no, no, is this a different? Because this is Beaumont. I don't know if this is the same one actually. This might be a different. Okay, no, I think this is. I think this is the right. This might be the right George Baldwin. So she was already sick back in 1903. Because it did say in her obituary, that the one short obituary that we found, that she was, like, sick for several years. Okay, hold on, what is this? Business announcement. The proprietors of the New Age hereby announce that they have purchased the newspaper plant of the Tacanic Republican, including the subscription list, type, presses, fixtures, goodwill, and everything concerning the business. With this issue of the New Age, the publication of that paper will cease, with the exception of a small sheet to be issued for 2 or 3 weeks to fulfill some contracts for legal advertising, and it will be merged with the Republican. The business will be conducted in the paper, edited and published solely by Lyman Brothers, and all subscribers to the New Age will receive instead the Republican to complete their term of subscription. All monies due on the subscription are payable to Lyman Brothers only, George S. Baldwin, the former proprietor, having turned over all books and accounts to us. The transfer of title was made on Monday, and the merging of the two business interests requires an extraordinary amount of labor in various ways. We trust our readers will bear with us if our news columns suffer somewhat during that period of transition. It is our purpose to get things pulled together as quickly as possible, and to make the combination of make a more newsy paper, if possible, than the New Age had been. Okay, so this is when he sold the newspaper, February of 1904. He sold it to the owners of the New Age. Postmaster George S. Baldwin and family have moved from East Tioga Street to the Billings house on Courthouse Square. Okay, so that's where they were living at the time. That's where they were living at that time. I need to move on. Find people who are moving this spring. I wonder which one is the Billing house. Let's see, what's this one? Young lady succumbs to disease on Friday night. Oh, this is someone that worked for him. Let's see. The following persons were among those who went to Tonda. Okay. Uh, Grand Altar Mason. Okay, yeah, that's temple stuff. Um, let's see. In a meeting. Okay, yeah, that's the same article that we already saw that talks about Mary, her being ill again. Wait, hold on, what is this one? $12,500 for injury. Dang, that's a lot of money. The case of W.P. Weiss versus the Lehigh Valley Railroad Company was tried before arbitrators last week. Their arbitration board being composed of B.W. Lewis, George Baldwin, and S.W. Eisenbach. The case was brought to the recovery of injuries received by the plaintiff in a collision on the Montrose Branch on September 14, 1907. The hearing occupied 3 days, a number of witnesses being examined, and counsels on both sides arguing the matter. It was shown, according to the testimony, that Weiss is now subject to epileptic fits caused by injuries upon his head, and that he is practically disabled on that account. The verdict, which was handled in on Monday, gives him an award of $12,500. That's a lot of money for back then. That is a lot of money. Uh, let's see. Those are just lists. These are just lists. Uh, let's see. What would be considered? Okay, I don't think we need to look at that. Um, wait, okay. Hold on, is this when he was running for what does that say? Prothonotary elect T.M. Dunn and George S. Baldwin have been house cleaning this week, taking out all the old documents in the safety vault at the Protonary's office, rearranging shelves and dusting off and putting to rights a lot of things that have not been disturbed before in 40 years. Among the old papers is a complete file of all the election returns since the county was set off from in 1842, also a huge roll containing the names of army deserters in the Civil War, etc. Much of it is valueless except as relics. Okay, so he's just helping somebody clean out their office. Okay, what's this one? Second ward inspector. Okay, this is like an election inspectors. Okay, so he was an election inspector for the Republicans during this time. Okay, hold on. What is... Oh, here we go. Okay, this is where he became Justice of the Peace. George S. Baldwin is now a full-fledged Justice of the Peace, having been appointed to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of Charles E. Space. Okay, so he was assigned in September of 1909. I don't know how long he was there for. Hold on. Okay, that was in 1909. God, there's still so many. Actually, hold on. Let's change it from 1905. Because that's after this hump here, which I think is when after he sells the paper. Yeah, those are all just his name. What does this one say? Mr. Baldwin went downtown. Safe robbers frustrated. Major H.W. Bardwell drives off a gang from the post office. Was it robbed while he was there? The safe at the post office would have been blown open, the building probably wrecked, and the office robbed early Sunday morning, but for the vigilance and promptest action of Major H.W. Bardwell and his wife, the Bardwell residence adjoins the post office, and at about 2 a.m., Mrs. Bardwell was awakened by sounds coming from the rear of the post office. Looking out the window, she saw one man near the corner next to their house and another in a narrow alley leading to Warren Street on the opposite side. She informed her husband, who procured his revolver, carefully opened the window, and fired. He was not sure whether the prowlers were intent on robbery or were only half-drunken individuals who had merely wandered in there, so he fired his shot at random. Quick as a wick came back the reply, bang bang. The fusillade had been then began in dead earnest, but the nocturnal visitors did not wait to carry on the duel long. They hastily packed their traps and fled across the backlots in the direction of the railroad. Mr. Barnell went downtown, aroused J.S. Baldwin, the postmaster, and with one or two others, they went in and investigated the office. The would-be burglars had put a steel wedge in the jamb at the top of the safe door and filled the crack around the bottom with soap, with the evident intention of putting in nitroglycerin. If if they had been given 10 or 15 minutes more, they probably would have blown the safe open, for professionals in that line work rapidly. There is no clue to the identity of the gang, which was 3 in number, but their movements raised the suspicion that at least one of them was well acquainted with the town and was probably a local character. Dang, he got wow. So they were going to rob they were going to rob them. They were going to break in this blow up the safe and probably destroy everything that was in the safe in the process, but you know, oh wait, what's this? Postmaster G.S. Baldwin has purchased a piano for his daughter. Aw, Miss Mary. That's sweet. Got her got her a piano. Uh let's see. What's this? Even among them, Postmaster Billings. Football. Okay, that was just him going to a football game. Yeah, there's an Arthur visiting. What about this one? This one was quite ill. Okay, well that's good. He got better, which we know he did because he's alive. Let's see. What's this one? January 1908. Married Wes Nicholson. Oh, they're talking about okay. He was also worked for a year at the Mechanic Republican office, then owned by G.S. Baldwin. Okay, so that's just somebody who worked. He's just talking about somebody who worked for him. Let's see, what's this? G.S. Baldwin has opened a book bindery in his residence on Courthouse Square and will bind magazines and other work in that line. Being an old printer and publisher, he has had considerable experience in that line and will doubtless be able to serve the public well. Okay, so huh. So after being Postmaster General, he just decided to do that. Let's see. This is him being in doing the election inspection stuff that we already saw. Okay, hold on. What's this one? A suit to recover fees in the now somewhat notorious case of May Edwards Harvey versus the Leon Valley Railroad Company was tried before G.S. Baldwin Justice of the Peace on Thursday. The action was brought by E.K. Little and H.S. Harding for attorney fees, and Dr. F.J. Bardwell of this place, and Dr. W.L. Snyder of Meshopen, an expert witness. The aggregate of their claims was $750, including the cost of 4 separate suits, and after a hearing, the justice gave judgment for the full amount. So this is when he was justice of the peace. Wait, so if he's justice of the peace now, if we go, hold on, 1911 to 1920. Oh, not many. I don't think he was justice for that long. Yeah, these are all cases that he was a part of while he was justice of the peace. Yeah, 2 or 3 boys or young men were arrested on Monday and taken before G.S. Baldwin, justice of the peace, charged with breaking into the warehouse at Jennings and Stark and pilfering goods. After the hearing, Marcy Wiggins and Harry Drake were put under $300 bonds each to appear at court for trial. Okay, so we do have ads going right now. While ads are going, I'll do a quick rundown of some of these. I won't click on like any of them to like read them, but I want to see. Yeah, because those are all his cases. These are all his cases. And this looks like... This looks like a thing for his wife being dead, so I'll save. I won't click on that yet. That's where it stops for this part, for G.S. Baldwin. What I'll do is I'll try to see if I can find one more obituary. I'll try to see if I can find more in terms of obituaries for his wife, and then I'll see if I can find any obituaries for George himself. And then we'll go from there. All right, but we'll do that. We'll save that for when the ads are done. Let's see. Hold on. Cover that up a little bit too much. Okay. But yeah, that's crazy. There has to be something that like they're missing years for these ones for this time. So yeah, so I think the next thing we'll do is I'll look at George for this time period again. And then I'll look again for the last 2 years before Mary, while Mary was still alive. And then, yeah, okay. So I think ads are done. So now that ads are done, let's go ahead and let's do this. look at this. I think this might be something for his wife. Oh, this is just about somebody attending. Oh, just attending her funeral. So not even a thing for her. That's just a thing attending her friends attending her funeral. Hold on. Yeah, because it goes from July to October. Okay, so hold on. George? Okay, there we go. Mrs. George S. Baldwin's been ill for several days. August, October. Here we go. Here's the thing. I think this is the thing for her. Mary Elizabeth Baldwin, wife of George S. Baldwin, died at their residence on Wyoming Avenue at about the noon hour on Saturday, October 12, 1912. She had been in poor health for a long time, her trouble being pronounced chronic bronchitis. The funeral was held at the house on Tuesday, conducted by Reverend Fred B. Newman, with interment at Sunnyside. Mrs. Baldwin's maiden name was Frink, and she was born in Montrose 64 years ago. She was very highly esteemed, and sincere sympathy is felt for the husband and family. At the funeral, a wealth of beautiful flowers attested to the love that was felt for her. Beside the husband, one son, Arthur F. Baldwin of Dushore, and Miss Mary, residents at home, are left to mourn their loss. Dang. I do want to read this one real quick because this one looks interesting. Through the generosity of our local bookbinder, Mr. George S. Baldwin, the copy of Colonel Hubby's Journal of Sullivan's Expedition is now found upon the shelves in a handsome Morocco binding. So yeah, so he's still doing the bookbinding stuff. But it's not saying that he's a justice. This is saying squire. Hold on, is that referring to Templar stuff? Oh, no, he's still doing justice stuff. Yeah, he's still doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's do 1921 to 19... Oops. Actually, no, hold on. Let's do October... If I could spell 1912. And let's get rid of Wyoming County and do Luzerne. I just want to see if there's more on Elizabeth. Okay, yeah, that doesn't have any new information. I think that longer one that we just got is probably the best one we're going to get. All right, Elizabeth. Nothing. Okay. Let's get rid of the county, or let's make it Wyoming County again. Wyoming County. And let's specifically it was 1921 to 1922. Really? Nothing. Okay, hold on. Let's just make it Pennsylvania. Let's change it. to... It's the closer county. Here we go. I think this is it. Oh, no, that's a different person. That's a different George Baldwin. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything. Squire, yeah. Justice of the Peace. So he was still Justice of the Peace in 1922. Wait, when did she die? January. Yeah, wait, so... Okay, so there's nothing here. Okay, let's get rid of that one again. Then let's try Juana, J. Baldwin, mechanic. The funeral. Okay, I think these are the ones we already have. Yeah, Miss Mary Baldwin, daughter, 11 o'clock after a lingering illness. Yeah, that's one we already have. I'm pretty sure. And same with this one. Talking about her funeral. Okay, so there's nothing else there. Let's just go ahead and let's see. He died in 1936. So let's change this to 1936. None of those are here. Try GS maybe? No. Okay. See, what does it say about him at the end? J. S. Baldwin, former commissioner's clerk, has been helping out at the office this week on account of the illness. Oh, that's a different... It's not him. Is it this one? Here we go. George S. Baldwin. George Scott Baldwin was born January 11th, 1955 in Montrose and died Friday evening, February 21st, 1936, at his home in Tacanic. Only the afternoon of the day previous to his death was he stricken with a heart attack while at his usual duties as clerk in the Shook hardware store, where he had been employed for nearly 20 years. He was removed to his home but failed to rally and passed away next evening. Mr. Baldwin came to Tacanic in 1881 and was publisher of the Tacanic Republican until February 8, 1904, when he sold the business to the Lyman brothers, who merged it with the New Age. He was the postmaster at Tacanic from 1903 to 1907 and later served as commissioner's clerk. He had been Justice of the Peace several years, which office he held at the time of his death. He was a member of the Tacanic Presbyterian Church and Masonic Lodge. One son survives, Arthur F. Baldwin of Salamanca, New York, and a grandson, Richard Baldwin of Kiddington, PA. A daughter died some years ago. The funeral was held at the residence Sunday afternoon with Reverend F.B. Newman officiating. The Masons held ritualistic service arrangements by Greenwood. Okay, so he was still so on top of working, he was a clerk at a hardware store and also Justice of the Peace. That's crazy that you can be Justice of the Peace and then you can do all that other stuff too. That is crazy to me. I had no idea. Okay. Okay, I think this is where we're going to end it for tonight. Looking... Yeah. Okay, so this was interesting. We kind of went a little different direction near the end here because unfortunately there wasn't that much information about Mary herself because uh she it appears from the records that we saw with her that while she was involved when she was younger in like kind of activities, all other newspaper articles after that are her being ill. So I think she was just somebody who had ill health, who was in bad health and just couldn't do much later in her life, even though she was only 40 when she passed away. So actually, wait, hold on. Before we do it, let's put all of this in here. We can put all this information in. So, okay, February 28th, 1881. Oh, so it was just her birthday. If we had done her on, what was that, Sunday? No, Saturday. Wow, it was just her birthday. Happy birthday, Mary. She was born in Met. What was it called? Met or Montrose. To her so her father was yeah, George Baldwin and Elizabeth Frank. George Baldwin, Elizabeth Frank. At the time of the photo, she would have been 7. And then she was living in Panic. Never married. Never worked, from what I can tell. Never had a job. She died, was it January 11th, 1922. Okay, and then, so she was 40. Yeah, she was 40. And died in Tacanic. And is buried in... Here, let me just actually copy this one. She's buried in Sunnyside. And for notes, I'll put... Suffered from epilepsy. Very sick a lot of her life. And then father owned local newspaper, got in, or I'll put had rivalry with other papers, because that I think was the funniest thing that we found. Where basically they were going back and forth. And I think honestly the other paper won. They won specifically with, where is it? I want to find it. No, it's not there. Is it this? Yes, it was this. They won with this line. This line right here. As to popularity, neighbor Baldwin is not popular enough to get the post office here, which he very much wanted and needs, in order that he might keep up his high prices and small amount of business. God, that's so good. Oh, that is so good. I love that so much. That is such a good line. That's a good roast to end it with. But yeah, so that's what we got about Mary. Unfortunately, she didn't really, because of I think her health, she wasn't able to do a ton in her life, but I think she still had friends. She did things with friends and community and everything like that. I think it was just kind of later in life she couldn't. And her father definitely led a very interesting life of being a newspaper owner who had beef with other newspaper owners, and then was justice of the peace, and then a hardware store clerk, which is crazy. All right, but yeah, with that, let's go ahead and let's head on back to our uh, setting here. Head back to our classroom. Oh, you might get. Hold on. Yeah, sorry about the Victorian jump scare, but yeah, we got number 10. We're in double digits. We're in double digits with this one. Uh, we're in double digits now, which is crazy, honestly, to think about. That we've already researched 10 people and we're not even halfway. Uh, so yeah, that's gonna do it for today, folks. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new here, I'm not a professor, but you can call me Nap. I do these streams every Sunday and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Standard Time. However, I did say this at the beginning of the stream, and I'll say it again now. I am busy this weekend, and unfortunately, there will not be a stream this Sunday. My next stream is going to be on Wednesday. Next Wednesday, the what is that? The 11th? Yeah, next Wednesday, the 11th. Will be our next stream. Because I will not be able to stream on Sunday this weekend. I'm a little busy. So yeah, so I'll see you guys officially next week. And if you want to know when that goes live, make sure you go ahead and follow. So that you know when I go live next when that happens. And then also I do have a YouTube channel where I upload shorts on some of the stuff that we find here on stream. In fact, pinned at the top of the chat there is the link to my newest short that I uploaded on Monday, where we talk about how this photo that we're researching is connected to an Olympic champion. If you missed that stream, yes, we discovered that one of the people in this stream married an Olympic champion, which is honestly crazy. But yeah, so let's go ahead then. Let's see. Let's see. What's going on here? Let's see. Let's see if we can find see if we can find possibly somebody to raid here. Let's see. let's go ahead and let's raid. Uh, go ahead and raid this person, Cozy Little Dragon. They're doing crochet and writing stream. Let's go ahead and raid them. All right. Go ahead and work on the raid message. Let's get the follower one. All right. There we go. Oh, hey, Almontis. Good to see ya. Oh, if you were... Hope you're having a good evening. Okay, so yeah, so that's gonna do it for tonight, folks. Thank you guys so much again for being here. And like I said, right, if I wasn't about to raid Almontis, I would give you a shout out, but I don't have time to type it. But yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night wherever you are. And like I said, there's gonna be no stream on Sunday this week. I'll see you guys in 1 week. 1 week from today, we'll be doing this again and continuing with number 11 on our list. Yes, have a good night too, Almontis. I'll see you guys next time. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.